Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're really getting into some of the biggest news from Build 2025. Our goal here is, well, to really unpack Microsoft's vision for what they're calling an open agentic web at scale. We want to explore what that actually means for developers, for enterprises, basically, for anyone building software today. And we're pulling this straight from one of the key presentations, so it's right from the source, giving us a good look at Microsoft's strategy. Okay, let's unpack this vision of an agentic web. What's the core idea here? Maybe we should start with something familiar, the developer tools we all use, but see how they're changing. Visual Studio, for instance, still a powerhouse for .NET, C++ leg. It's getting .NET 10 support, which is expected, but also cool stuff like live preview at design time. And they've improved the Git tooling inside the IDE, plus there's a new debugger for cross-platform apps. Makes life easier. Then there's VS Code. I mean, everyone uses VS Code, right? It just hit its 100th release.
Bravo, 100 releases.
Yeah. And with that comes better multi-window support, easier ways to see stage changes, quality of life stuff. And we can't forget GitHub. It's just continuing its momentum, especially GitHub Enterprise.
Right, and the focus there seems heavily weighted towards the enterprise needs.
Absolutely. Trust, security, compliance, auditability, data residency, all the critical things big companies worry about. But as important as these tools are, they feel like the foundation, not the main event this year.
Exactly, because the main event, or at least a huge part of it, is how AI is transforming these tools, specifically GitHub Copilot. And the really big news here is that Copilot in VS Code is now open source.
Open source, that's huge.
It is, integrating those AI capabilities right into the core open source repo. That's a statement. And it connects to this idea of Copilot evolving. It's not just a pair programmer anymore suggesting things. They're calling it a peer programmer. It's becoming more autonomous.
A peer programmer, what does that mean in practice?
Well, think about tasks like upgrading frameworks. Copilot can now apparently handle migrating, say, a Java 8 app to Java 20 or 21.
Seriously? Autonomously?
That's the claim. Or .NET 6 to .NET 9. Imagine tackling massive tech debt projects like that, but with AI acceleration.
That would free up so much engineering time.
Precisely. And it goes beyond just code generation or updates. They introduced something called the Azure SRE agent.
SRE, Site Reliability Engineering.
Yeah, an autonomous agent for that. It can supposedly triage issues, find the root cause, even mitigate them, and then it logs the incident report as a GitHub issue detailing what happened and what needs fixing.
Okay, that's already impressive, but
here's the kicker.
Yeah.
It can assign those repair items to Copilot.
Wait, the SRE agent tells Copilot to fix the bug.
Exactly. Copilot becomes this coding agent within GitHub, autonomously handling fixes, maybe even features, based on these incident reports. What's fascinating here is how the open sourcing of Copilot and its evolution to a peer programmer fundamentally shifts developer workflows, moving beyond assistance to autonomous execution.
That transition from pair to peer and Copilot assigning tasks to itself. Wow, that really makes you think. How does that change the day-to-day for a developer? Are they just overseeing the AI now? Less hands-on coding?
I think it shifts the focus, absolutely. Less time on the repetitive stuff, the boilerplate, the big, tedious migrations. More time, hopefully, on the complex problem-solving, the architecture, the truly creative parts. You're guiding the AI, validating its work, defining the harder problems.
So more high-level thinking, less low-level implementation.
That seems to be the direction. And this whole agentic idea, it's not just staying within developer tools. It's spreading across Microsoft 365. They're positioning Microsoft 365 Copilot as this unifying scaffolding, a central place for chat, search, notebooks creation, and these agents. They even called it the UI for AI.
Okay, so unifying all those AI capabilities, what does that look like?
Well, chat, for instance, is grounded in both web data and your specific work data. That context is key.
Right, understanding your company's information.
Exactly. And search isn't just M365 anymore. It pulls from Confluence, Google Drive, Jira, ServiceNow, your whole enterprise landscape.
That cross-app search alone is huge for finding information quickly.
Definitely. And notebooks let you pull together all sorts of things, chats, web pages, documents, emails, even audio like podcasts or reviews into one place for analysis.
Consolidating diverse data types. Interesting. And what about these special agents you mentioned? How do they fit into M365?
Right. So within M365 Copilot, you have these specialized agents. There's a researcher agent. It synthesizes information from the web and your enterprise data using what they described as deep chain of thought reasoning, basically multi-step analysis.
So going beyond simple search results.
Yes. And an analyst agent that can take raw data, like a bunch of Excel files you upload, and generate insights, forecasts, even visualizations.
Okay, that's powerful.
Yeah.
How do you interact with these in, say, Teams?
That's the seamless part. You can just mention an agent in a chat or a meeting, ask it a question, assign it an action item, kick off a workflow. It becomes part of the conversation.
Just like mentioning a colleague.
Pretty much. And for developers building these, the Teams AI library is key. It helps build these multiplayer agents. It includes support for something called MCP, Multimodal Conversation Protocol, for different AI parts to talk to each other.
MCP. Tell me more about that.
It's a standard for enabling communication between different AI components, humans, and systems. The library makes agent-to-agent A2A communication possible with just one line of code. You can also easily add memory episodic or semantic using Azure Search, so agents remember past interactions or relevant documents.
Giving them context and continuity.
Exactly. And then there's the agent store.
Ah, a marketplace.
Yes. Developers can publish their custom agents there, making them discoverable across Copilot and teams.
So potentially reaching hundreds of millions of users.
That's the potential. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the agent store represents a crucial shift in how AI capabilities are monetized and distributed, much like an app store for intelligent agents. It's a massive opportunity for developers.
It really does sound like a new ecosystem forming. So if I'm an enterprise and I need a really specific tailored agent, how do I build that? Beyond just using the pre-built ones or finding one in the store.
That's where Copilot tuning comes in. This is about creating enterprise-grade agents fine-tuned on your company's specific data, workflows, even its communication style.
Fine-tuned on our own stuff. How does that work?
You basically seed the training with a small set of reference examples, documents, workflows, whatever defines how you operate. It learns your company's tone, language, and eventually your internal knowledge base. Then you can deploy this tuned Copilot to authorize users, and it inherits the necessary permissions.
Okay, that's powerful customization, but it immediately raises security questions. How do you control these autonomous agents with access to sensitive data?
Absolutely critical question, and Microsoft seems very focused on this. Their answer involves tight integration with their existing security and governance stack. This raises an important question. How do enterprises maintain control and security with such powerful autonomous agents? The integration with Entra ID, Purview, and Defender highlights Microsoft's systemic approach. Underpinning all this is the Azure AI infrastructure. For example, they announced a model router for Azure OpenAI models.
Oh, router.
Yeah, it automatically picks the best OpenAI model for a specific task. You don't have to manually choose anymore. It moves towards apps using multiple models seamlessly.
Making it easier to leverage the best tool for the job.
Right. And a huge announcement, Grok, from XAI, is coming to Azure.
Elon Musk's AI model on Azure.
Yes, and tied to that is a new capability in Foundry that's Microsoft's big AI platform for building, training, deploying models and agents. Now, you can provision throughput once on Foundry and use that capacity across multiple models, including Grok. That simplifies managing resources for different LLMs massively.
So pay for the compute power once, use it flexibly across models.
Exactly. And Foundry itself, particularly the agent Foundry part, is now generally available. You can build agents declaratively, with just a few lines of code in the portal, orchestrate multiple agents working together. It connects easily to container apps or Azure functions, and you can deploy open source models into Azure Kubernetes Service, AKS, whether in the cloud or hybrid using Azure Arc.
So flexibility in deployment too.
Yes. And you can fine-tune models in Foundry and drop them straight into Copilot Studio to automate workflows or build those custom agents we talked about. They even mentioned the Stanford Healthcare Agent Orchestrator is now available in Foundry.
A real-world example ready to use.
Right. And back to security, Foundry has new observability features for monitoring AI impact, quality, safety, cost, and production. Agents get their own identity via Microsoft Entra ID Think permissions, policies, access controls, all managed centrally in an agent directory.
Like managing user identities, but for agents.
Precisely. They're partnering with ServiceNow and Workday for automated provisioning via Entra 2, plus Microsoft Purview integration for data protection, and Microsoft Defender integration to protect agents from threats like credential theft. They're treating agents like first-class citizens in the security model.
It definitely sounds like they're building a robust, enterprise-ready foundation. But you mentioned earlier this isn't just cloud. What about the edge? What about client devices?
Yeah, they announced Foundry Local. It basically brings the app server and building capabilities down to edge devices and clients.
Foundry, local.
It includes a high-performance runtime, models and agents as a service locally, and a CLI for local development, fully supported on Windows and Mac.
So you can build and run these AI applications right on your laptop.
Or on edge devices. And this Foundry Local is actually part of the broader Windows AI Foundry. Think of Windows AI Foundry as the whole platform for building AI apps that span CPUs, GPUs, NPUs, those specialized neural processing units both on-device and in the cloud.
Leveraging all the hardware available.
Exactly. It gives access to a catalog of pre-optimized open source models designed to run well locally. Windows is also getting native support for MCP, that multimodal conversation protocol.
The communication standard.
Right, with built-in MCP servers for file systems, settings, app actions, windowing, and a native registry to find secure MCP servers. It's deep OS integration.
This feels very open, similar to how they open sourced WSL.
That's a great comparison. They actually announced the open sourcing of WSL at Build 2, reinforcing this direction. What's fascinating here is the sheer breadth of integration, from low-level silicon and operating systems to sophisticated data platforms, all designed to make AI and agents ubiquitous for developers. And speaking of data platforms, the integration continues there. Cosmos DB, their distributed database, is now in Foundry.
Why is that important for agents?
Agents need memory, right? Cosmos DB can store conversational history, support retrieval augmented generation RA, where the AI pulls in external data.
Giving the AI access to knowledge bases.
Yes. They're even integrating LLM responses directly into PostgreSQL queries, making AI interaction with databases smoother. And Cosmos DB is also coming to Microsoft Fabric, their unified analytics platform.
Fabric.
This is key because AI needs more than just structured SQL data. It needs text, images, audio. Putting Cosmos DB in Fabric means all that data structured, semi-structured, lives together, ready for AI.
Breaking down data silos for AI.
Precisely. Fabric is also getting a digital twin builder for mapping physical asset data and these shortcut transformations in one lake, Fabric's data lake. Think of it as AI-driven ETL. Pre-built transformations from Foundry like audio to text, sentiment analysis applied directly to data flowing into Fabric.
Automating data prep for AI.
Yeah. And one more piece, NL Web. A simpler way for existing websites or APIs to become agentic applications, hiding some of the complexity.
Wow, okay, the integration is just everywhere. From the OS to dev tools to the cloud, data platforms, the edge, it leads to the big picture. We heard about the massive NVIDIA supercomputer in Azure. Where's all this heading? What's the ultimate goal?
Well, the ultimate aspiration seems to be applying this entire integrated AI stack to accelerate scientific discovery itself.
Scientific discovery.
Yeah. They unveiled Microsoft Discovery. Built on Foundry, it's designed to understand deep, nuanced scientific knowledge, public and proprietary data. It includes highly specialized agents for R&D, agents that don't just reason about science, but potentially conduct research identifying hypotheses, designing experiments, analyzing results.
AI agents doing scientific research.
That's the vision, to dramatically accelerate R&D across industries, pharma, materials science, you name it. If we connect this to the bigger picture, Microsoft Discovery exemplifies the ultimate application of this agentic web, transforming fundamental research and innovation across specialized domains.
So what does this all mean for you as a developer or an enterprise leader navigating this rapidly evolving landscape? We've gone through this vision of an agentic web, from core tools becoming autonomous to agents in M365, the underlying Azure infrastructure, all the way to the edge and OS. It's clearly a very systematic platform approach from Microsoft. They're building an entire ecosystem, really, unlocking opportunities at every single layer.
Exactly. And maybe the thought to leave you with is this. Consider the implications. A world where these specialized autonomous agents can not only help us, but can independently run complex tasks, learn from your company's unique data, and maybe even drive fundamental scientific breakthroughs. How does that start to redefine our own roles? How does it change where human expertise and creativity provide the most value in the years ahead? It's a profound shift to think about.